All right, we are going to get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to our final 2020 AACUC After Hours Women's Chat. My name is Galeen Janvier. I am the Micro Enterprise Development Specialist at Suncoast Credit Union, an AACUC member, as well as the Commitment to Change 2020 Women's Chat Chair. Tonight in our Women's Chat, we are going to focus on the topics of Rise by Lifting Others, Here, Now, Forever, DEI. We will talk about mentoring, which we've been doing all week really, sponsorship, which is critical for us to move forward, and advocacy, as well as some next steps and resources. But before we do that, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors. All right, we would love to thank our host sponsor, AACUC, our title sponsor, PSCU, as well as CUNA Mutual Group, our program sponsor for today. Please do not forget to go on your social media platforms. I've been tweeting all day about the wonderful topics that I've been hearing. So you do the same and use the different hashtags that you see on your screen. We also have a chat, so feel free to use it throughout this session. But right now we have a quick poll to get a sense of your thoughts on the matter, and I encourage you to participate. So 62% of you guys have a mentor. All right, let's ask the next question. Do you mentor? Oh, that's even better. Okay, so more of you guys are mentoring than being mentored. All right, great. All right, let's ask the next question. Do you have an advocate at work? Oh, that's even better. Seems like many of you guys do, 78%. And one final question. Do you have a sponsor at work? All right, thank you so much for participating. We appreciate your honesty. 52%. We rise by lifting others through mentoring, advocacy, and sponsorship. And I'm excited to hear your voices. We do not have a guest speaker today, so you are our guest, and we want to hear from you. We are going to now break you up into breakout sessions, and I want you to discuss this question. What's the difference between a sponsor, an advocate? Today we heard, and even yesterday, we heard the word coach. What is that word? And a mentor. So you're going to talk for 7 minutes in your breakout session, talking about the differences between these words. So we'll see you soon.
Hello, ladies. We are in breakout groups right now. You should see an invitation to join a breakout room for Dr. Pamela Sadie-White, Renee Sadie-White, and Whitney Anderson. So if you click on that join button, it will move you to a breakout room already in progress. Thank you.
I'll go ahead from our group. Well, the first thing we had to really grasp around is what is the difference between an advocate and a sponsor? And hopefully some of you guys can clarify this as well. But the thought that we got is, a sponsor can be an advocate, but your advocate may not necessarily be a sponsor. And an advocate is kind of cheering you on, and they're there to root for you. And the way that I saw sponsor is someone who can bring your voice to that seat or that table that you otherwise wouldn't have. So, I can advocate for my peer, but I might not be a sponsor to elevate, what they're doing or their idea. So we talked about that. And then we just learned that also we had a lot of mentors in our group, and Lynette is pretty much the sweetest and offered to be all of our mentors. So I loved that.
Okay, great. Who wants to, I know in our group, we talked a lot about coaching. Grace, did you want to share what your organization does?
Yes. So at LGFCU, we actually have a coaching program that has been in existence now for about 5 years. And the coaching program is open to all staff as long as they're not on a performance improvement plan. And it's all about professional development, and we work with the manager. So the manager is a part of the process. And for anyone who is promoted from an individual contributor role into a manager role where they're managing people, it's a requirement that they go through it.
Wow, that's incredible. And that is dedication to the staff for sure. All right, now let's have an open discussion about how do you approach a potential mentor? How have you done so? And that goes for anybody in the chat.
So this is Andrea. I'm with the Carolinas Credit Union League, and we participate in the CU Aware Mentor Program. And they pair us with individuals who are interested in being mentored. And through that program, we check in with our mentees. They come to the table with the goals that they have established. And we meet with our mentees, work with them to help them establish or meet those goals. I meet twice a month with my mentee. And it's a rewarding experience as well, because I have a great opportunity to learn from her and just through, what she's trying to achieve. So I think it's just it's a great program. It's a great program, and it's just, you get so much from giving and sowing into someone, so.
Kelly?
I'll go. I think sometimes it's so organic, and it's always got to be purposeful, right? So I'll shout out one of my mentors who's on the line. I know I'm just one of many of her mentees, but Renee Sadie White, she's one of my mentors. I remember the moment that I approached her about membership. It was in 2017 after the AACUC conference came to Raleigh, and things were finishing out and everything. And I remember that I reached out to her after one of her talks during the luncheon, and it was just something she said just resonated with me, and it stuck with me. And I was like, I've got to let her know. I've got to let her know that she just impacted my life, right? So
I love it. So you just stepped up to her and said, look, you're going to be my mentor. Uh-oh, I think we lost Kelly. Did anybody else want to join in?
So on two things, LGFCU also participates through the league as mentors, and we encourage our staff to be mentors and mentees, and it is a really good program. But also part of the coaching that I do, I will coach staff and say, hey, which one of our senior leadership would you like to mentor you? Because here's how you need to have that conversation. Your mentor doesn't have to be from the outside. It can be from someone within the organization.
That's true. And you know what? It's a blessing to have a mentor outside as well. Sometimes I tend to gravitate towards people who are outside of my organization. I would say when it comes to mentoring, sometimes it's hard to stay connected with your mentor. So what strategies do you use to, once you've, gotten the bravery to ask that person to be your mentor, how do you stay connected with that person if it's more formal than organic?
So I would say that I was in the CU Aware Mentor Program that Andrea mentioned, and my mentor right off the bat assigned me homework. So I had a report in. We agreed to meet once a month, and I had to report in the next month after, and my homework was to read this book. So I had a month to read this book, and my homework was discussed at the next meeting. And then we would build on that, something else to think about for the next meeting, something else to think about for the next meeting. So we were accountable to each other.
Okay, perfect. Well, what has been your experience, anyone on the chat, with mentoring, being an advocate, or being a sponsor?
Colleen, I'll share an experience. So I was sponsored by someone that I didn't know I was being sponsored by. I was approached for a role, and I did not realize that this person saw what they saw in me. So what I was sharing with my breakout group was that we're always being watched at our job, and it's sometimes the little things. Of course, sometimes your achievements are made known, but sometimes it's the little things that you're not even sure who's watching or who observed, but they remember that. And just knowing to always serve with excellence. That way, when a person does decide to be your sponsor, they're able to step in and do that. And you probably didn't even, in my experience, I didn't approach them in that regard. And it just opened up a door that I would not have had or even pursued had it not been for that person.
Wow, that's awesome. And with sponsorship, it's really towards promotion, right? Getting that next level job. Does anybody else want to chime in? Well, I can say I want to talk about just my experience. I know Danya has been, an advocate for me when she's in different rooms. I know she's, putting my name out there. And I encourage all of you guys to do the same. If you see a bright star in your team, go ahead and be that advocate for them, be that voice for them. As well as sponsorship. If you're in a position of leadership, maybe you see someone else or you see potential in someone that they may not even see. And so being that sponsor or that mentor. So
and
today,
sure.
Yes.
Like also, like I was mentoring in our group that I do sponsoring and I do mentoring for one of our home offices, and I also do it for university students. But for our office in Allen Park, I do mentoring, was traveling up there quarterly in Michigan. And when they're looking for people to participate in their leadership programs, they come to me because the folks that are in the mentoring program, they know are dedicated and looking for opportunities to grow and learn. And we go over some of the programs, and I can tell them, it's like, hey, these are the things we're working on, because their supervisor may have stated, it's like, yeah, this person has potential, but they do this. And then I can actually show them, it's like, yes, we've actually talked about that. And here is the program that we actually have put together to work on that. So they're committed. We do a report in every quarter, and they're committed to changing that. It may be attendance thing, or it may be something else going on, but it's like we go through that every quarter and say, here is what they're doing. Here's the action plan that they put together. So please consider them for that promotion and be that advocate for them. The mentor a lot of times is that advocate for that person too, and that hidden sponsor that they don't even know about.
Wow. So the last question that we have for this evening is, we've been fed so much, right? So what do you do? What do you plan to do to rise by lifting others? What are your plans, next steps?
So I'll be happy to share. We have been sharing the link, the YouTube links. I sent out emails and everything about this conference. For those that were not able to attend, I plan on sharing these, the links to the YouTubes all over the place, because I think so much knowledge was shared. Inspiration. Like you said, we have been in some deep, dark places, and people need lifting up. This has totally lifted me up. And I think it will serve as a light for so many others, for hope, for them to figure out, not only professionally, but personally, what are those next steps? What's the action plan you need to take for yourself?
Right. I love it. I love it. I think, one of the things that I heard throughout the week is we're speaking to the choir. And so I'm going to challenge myself to, maybe it is getting outside of my comfort zone. To be a voice and just have those uncomfortable conversations with allies from different groups. And I think that would maybe move the needle a little bit further. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think
One thing that I learned, and actually like a VP in our organization pulled me aside a few years ago, and she kind of just told me, it was a white woman, and she told me what no one had ever said before. She just said, oh, well, sometimes your name just needs to be said in the right meeting for there to be moves made for you. So I always took that to heart, and I try to do that same thing, even if I'm not in a position of power at the time, to be in a position of influence to highlight other folks, especially folks of color in my organization that might not get it. I'm blessed to get the mic a lot and speak in my organization. So I always try to bring other folks with me or suggest other folks to do stuff. And I think as a person of color, it's a delicate balance, right? I don't want to turn down and pass a lot of stuff, but I want to make sure that I'm always making opportunities for other folks. And just remembering that simple thing that she told me, that sometimes you just need to say someone's name in the right spot, because unfortunately, they're not thinking of us on their radar the way they should be. So continuing to say those names and do those things has been something that I've seen work for myself and others.
Nice. So really, you're going to be intentional about being an advocate. I know some of you guys said that you didn't have a mentor. Is that something that you want to do, or even mentor somebody else after this week?
Can I speak on that, Galene?
Sure.
So just for everyone's awareness, Galene is my #1 mentor, advocate, coach, support system that just the best thing I've run into in a long time. So I plan to your point, Galene, be very intentional about my moves as a mentor now that I've been groomed by, such a shero to me, just being really intentional about my actions. I think our relationship happened really organically, and the relationship that I have now with my mentee has happened really organically, but just being really intentional about putting her name out there, giving her those opportunities that she doesn't necessarily see for herself, which is truly what you did for me. So to me, I just feel like everything is really just kind of repeating itself, but I really want to, kind of step up to the plate and just be super intentional about my moves with my mentee as well.
Nice. So I'm hearing you say that, if you're in a management position, you can serve better as a sponsor, because then you can advocate for even your employees in different places, because you're talking to your peers and help them move around. That's awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about next steps and resources. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying these next steps and resources. One of the challenges that I have for everyone is to start an AACUC chapter in your area. That's something that I definitely want to look into. As you guys know, I'm part of the UNCF Leadership Council in Tampa Bay. We have a national walk happening September 19th. Get your credit union together, form a team, and support HBCUs and students who really need that support. Learn more about being a mentor, being a coach, being a sponsor, and then getting one yourself. One of the websites that I love the most is volunteermatch.org. And so if you're not sure, even if you're in a career space and you're like, oh, I don't want a mentor here, maybe volunteering for a cause that you like, maybe you'll find a mentor there. So those are some next steps and resources. Let's go ahead and thank our sponsors again, including PSCU, and today's sponsor, CUNA Mutual Group. All right, guys, thank you so much. Here's my contact information. I encourage all of you guys to connect with me on LinkedIn. Next up, we have the AACUC After Hours Reflection from today's session. It starts at 7:15. So I love all of you guys and appreciated this women's chat.
Thank you for everything you did this week for us.
Thank you. This has been amazing.
Awesome job this week.
Thank you.
Good job, Galene.
Thank you.
Bye.